What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for the second episode, or the second part, whatever you want to call it, of the Burn the Witch movie. And man, yo, this episode was fucking phenomenal, man. Like, legit, the stuff about Macy and, like, when we got her origins and everything, which we saw her at the beginning of the first episode, which I thought that was actually pretty cool. One thing I found kind of interesting about, I actually think low-key that might have actually been better than the manga, to how the manga did that, in my personal opinion, because I really dug what they did there. And, yeah, man, like, this episode was solid all around, and we only got one episode left until we're finally done. So, yeah, man, let's just jump right in. So, we started this episode off. We actually had it up, which I believe this was also anime original content right here, where we have this news reporter, or we have, like, this news channel, whatever, they're reporting that, you know, Macy is leaving, you know, Nini's group, and, you know, and then they're spinning the whole clip about her saying it's so irritating, like, oh, this confirms she hates Macy, and whatever, you know. All that shit. And I actually love that one of the reporters, I'm pretty sure it was like a black dude, said that it was leaked. And then the white dude, like, or it might have been the other way around, but someone questioned whether or not it was leaked because it was from a reputable source. And they said that the company, the name of this organization, this news channel, whatever, is slipping in my mind at the current moment. But like, it's basically that, you know, it's that place, so it's basically gossip. And then they also said they were like replaced her with like a CG character. Like, oh no, they're not called CG characters, they're called humans. Get it? View and then humans without the H. Kind of clever, low-key. But anyway. After that, so after going on about how Nini doesn't like her and everything, we actually see her TV just break. It was actually her dragon, which I completely forgot to mention. This is my review for the first episode. But we actually did get a post-credit scene at the end of the first one that pretty much showed off Macy petting her dragon, Ellie. She was just petting her, and then Bruno comes in there, or Bruno, right? Yeah, whatever the dude's name was. He comes in there, and you know, that's pretty much where it ends. Yeah, Bruno. Okay, I was making sure I had his name right. So she's going out there and she's thanking Ellie for, you know, for being angry on her behalf and smashing the TV, but whatever. We then head over back to Nini. She's like closing in on the camera, which, man, when James saw that in one of his live streams, oh boy, my man was loving it. But anyway, she's going on about, you know, about illegally reared dragons, and that, yeah, apparently there's one that showed up in the Western District of Reverse London, and they're like, and she's like, well, okay, why is that any of our big concern? And that, well, she says that it's the job of pipers to rear dragons, so I guess that includes illegally reared dragons. Well, and Nini said that's a bit of a stretch. Well, that stretch is putting money in your pocket, says the boss, says the chief. And she's a little irritated by this, and then she does something that's just hella extra. I'm not gonna lie, this is just hella extra. She legit, keep in mind, my man got this huge stack of papers, massive stack of papers. It's the type of stack of papers that you're paranoid to even breathe in the vicinity of, because you're scared that's going to tip over. It was that big. And so as he is going on, and so after he says that, Nini legit leans into it and just throws half of it to the ground. And I'm like, oh, come on now, Nini. Come on, flagrant foul. Flagrant, can I get a flag on this play? Penalty. But anyway. So after, and the dude's like, you did that on purpose. And he goes to pick him up, and she's like, oopsie, did I do that? Like, she's fucking Urkel from Family Matters. Like, what the fuck is this? I don't know fucking Kumo's a fan of Family Matters. But anyway, the dude's like picking up his papers. We have Rebecca Balgo, who's there with them in this room. He's kind of looking over the newspaper, trying to figure out where they're mentioning Nini and Noel, and they're you know, taking care of that dragon. He's looking around, they can't find it, and then Noel's like, oh well, you're looking at the front London article. So so she takes her thumb and glides it across the London press sign, which returns it to Reverse London, and that's when all these Reverse London articles pop up, including on the front page Noel's picture. And she's like, "Oh, you look so cool!" And so Billy, he finds a paper that he was looking for, And once he grabs it, he's like, okay. Oh, by the way, there's another additional request with that. And so we then we cut to Nini and Spangle. They're on their like dragons or whatever, and they're flying around. Nini's getting kind of pissed off and irritated that they brought Balgo with them, and then she's going off. This was legit hilarious in the manga when she was going off on being like, why is he here? This and the third, and and so like they explain like, we need to attract dragons, and he attracts dragons, so we got to take him. Make our jobs easier. She's like, and she's also why she's so mad, and she's like, I'm not mad because I didn't know. I'm mad because of like I forget exactly which is like mad because like like that she has her doubts about it. Like if you draw the shortest stick and you have to take care of the family of the class from, which I'm pretty sure this was all anime only because I do not remember this in the manga, so I'm pretty sure they added this. I liked it too, in case you're wondering. Would you miss? And they actually show off Nini in like a school uniform carrying around this like frog. Pretty funny actually. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they added that. I'm pretty sure that's anime original content, which that was actually pretty funny. I really enjoyed that. So anyway, they eventually land on this rooftop, and they actually almost forgot. And then Noel, after Nini has her little rant, Noel asks her with like this just deadpan expression, just like zero fucks given expression she has. There's like she don't give a damn at this point. She asks Balgo if he got to say Nini, and he goes on about, oh, I'm glad to help Noel. If my body can help Noel, I'm so close to her. If I move even a little bit, I can feel her boobs, be in the warm aura of her boobs. I just want to touch them, and I'm like. And keep on, my man's saying this out loud. This ain't some narration from him. My man is talking out loud while he's saying this, and while he has his arms wrapped around Noel's stomach. And I'm like, fam! And then Noel says, you do realize if I drop you from here, you probably die, right? And he's like, huh? So then they land on this rooftop, and that's when Noel presents him, a Piper's, the robes, and as well as a pipe, which is like a legit like a horn. And he presents it like, hey, if you're gonna be joining us in this mission, you might as well dress the part. That's what the chief said. So he got it on. The man's looking good. And it's one thing I forgot to mention is actually throughout this whole episode, pretty much, you actually had Balgo had Oishi inside his hood, like legit. His hood was where Oishi was chilling at, which, not gonna lie, kind of creative. So props to that one. I don't know how sturdy is how well they keep him in there, but hey, it's interesting. It's innovative. So anyway, he gets it on. He's so happy about it, and goes like, "Oh yeah, because this is what Noel wears. It feels like that she's holding me. It's awesome." And the look on his man's face, and Nini's just like gross, and I'm like, "Yeah, I gotta agree with you, man. Like, come on now. Even like, come on, fam. Like, calm down there, man. I get it. You like Noel. You think she's hot. I do also think she is attractive. But come on, my man. Come on now. Don't be sipping on her that hardcore, my God. Come on. Come on. Dial it back 10 notches. Come on, man. So anyway, after that, they're in the West District, kind of surveying the area, looking for where the dragon might be. And Nini's asking Balgo, do you sense anything or anything? She's like, oh no, they're just naturally attracted to me. I can't communicate with them or anything. And then she like grabs him by his teeth and like, then why the hell are you here? Get lost! And then right as she says that, bam, an explosion happens over at the Realist, which is the company, which was a company that wrote down that wrote that like narrative about like, oh, she hates Macy or whatever. Or the Realists, because it's the Realist with an apostrophe S. The Realist, I think is how you pronounce it. But anyway, so they go over to the building. People are like, Nini's kind of like waving her hands. I guess people recognize her. And that they wrote like bad articles on her or whatever, this, that, and the third. And once they get over there, and Nini looks up, she notices Macy at one of the upper floors. And so she instantly calls upon her dragon or whatever, and flies up to the floor that she is on. Once she gets there, she breaks the window, and actually, I think her dragon took care of that. And then after her dragon goes past it, she jumps down from her dragon, and then just kind of like uses her gun as like a grappling hook or whatever to get inside the building, which looked really cool. I like the way they did that. So once she gets in there, she finds Macy, and she's like wondering how she got into reverse London and what's going on here. and that she's going on about like, oh, they wrote a bad article about you, they did this, that, third, and she's like, no, that was the realist in front London. This is the free realist in reverse London. She's asking them how she got there and everything, and then eventually she asked, and she's like, wait a minute, what did you say? Did you cause the explosion? And it wasn't her that caused the explosion. And then her dragon like decloaks itself like it's a predator, and shows itself off around. Ellie shows herself around Macy, and she's shocked to see how big the dragon's gotten. And she tells her, let me have it. And she's like, she's not an it. Her name is Ellie, which I really took her Japanese voice, by the way. The woman that got the voice there, she did a really good job in this episode. So anyway. And so then she's kind of trying to talk to her, like, just give me the dragon. It's a felony for you to have contact with the dragon, but as long as I keep my mouth shut, we're good. Just give me the dragon. I'll take care of it. And she's like, I'm doing this for your own good. And then she goes off and be like, anyone who you were the person that told me never to trust her and said they're doing it for my good was you, ha? And like this giant explosion like sends her out, and then there's this giant explosion, but then Noel comes in with the save, fires off the dragon before it can really do any real damage. And then she's just kind of chilling there right in front of the window. She gets in there and asking her, like, she doesn't seem happy with the dragon. She's like, yeah, who would be happy if they found their friend was behind, someone they knew was behind it? I'd be a psycho. And so then Macy and Noel finally meet. They have their little, they meet eye to eye. And so she asks her if she's Macy. And then the next thing happens, Macy grabs a fucking table and then just launches it at Noel and Nini, and we find out through Noel that apparently Macy has like a crush on her or whatever. She loves Nini, and that she kills off anyone who tries to act friendly with anyone that acts friendly with her. She's like, oh, and then Noel's like, was I acting friendly with you back there? And then we get back where she's raging all, she's grabbing another table, be like, where are you? I'll kill you! You bitch! She's just going up bullshit. And then Nini's like, okay, so the direct approach is not going to work with her when she's like this. You keep her distracted while I'll go from the roof. So she goes up to the roof. Then there's another explosion that sends Nini falling off the roof, which Noel manages to catch her. And then that's where Bruno makes his presence known, with his foot on top of it, was on the edge of the roof, looked like a badass, dressed nice man. Like my man, look. I mentioned this when I read the manga chapter of this. When Ball got introduced, or not Ball, Bruno got introduced, I was like, man, look at the way this man dresses. Like my man's dressing clean. I love the way Kubo dresses his character, man. Like nobody has better fashion sense than my boy Kubo when it comes to manga. This man knows how to dress. So anyway, enough of me talking about the man's dress sense. So anyway, after she finally catches them, they meet face to face. We then cut back to the chief. He's kind of like sneaking around like I think it's called like the Quiet Council. I think is what this place is called, or the Circular Council. Anyway, he's in the council. So he's kind of like sneaking around for a bit, and then one of the officers there, the black, finds him, and she's like, why the hell? Why are you here? What are you doing here? Why are you thinking about it? She's like, oh, I was just taking a stroll. And she's like, don't lie to me. You were here because your subordinates were in trouble. And he's just like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, it appears I have overestimated you. I felt it was only right that I tell you this. And then that's when he tells him that there's a hit out for Balgo, and that he should keep and then she, make sure his keep up with his subordinates. And that's when she takes her leave. So then after that, we're back with Bruno and Noel and Nini. So then Bruno starts to explain his master plan about how there's that there's an order out for that there's out for Balgo. Well, first off, he actually calls. Well, first he grabs his phone, starts calling people out to tell him take care of Balgo, and that he's the one responsible for the terrorist attack. Basically, framing our boy because And he goes on how and that's when he explains his master plan to Noel and Nini. That basically what's going to do is going to take him in because there's already an order out for his arrest or whatever, and that they're going to execute him. And then apparently later on there's going to be a bounty out for him, so he'll take him in for now. Then when the order comes in for the bounty, he'll kill him on the spot, and then of course be revered and immortalized in reverse London's history. So of course, that's his whole master plan. He goes on like, "Oh, don't start crying or negotiating. Now I won't take care of y'all if you both, as long as you stay on my way. That is." And as they're doing this, we get this close-up shot of Noel, where the camera starts closing in on Noel and Nini, as Noel has her eyes are kind of blacked out or whatever, and she's looking down, and as well Nini is looking straight at him. And then we get the most savage line in anime history, ladies and gentlemen. Now, where Noel looks up at him and says, "You have the worst dye job I've ever seen." Savage. Straight savage. Now, I low-key think the manga was a little bit better, because in the manga she stated, your dye job is absolute cringe. Low-key, I think I prefer that one, but either way, it is the most savage line in anime for the entire year, ladies and gentlemen. I was laughing my ass off when I read that in the manga. I was laughing my ass off when I rewatched it when I saw it in the anime. That line had me dying, man. Savage, savage, savage. So obviously my man is enraged by this. Like fronts of the part of the roof of the building start to crack down. He's like, "What did you say? I was trying to be nice because you're just lacking, but now I'm gonna kill you," or whatever. So the man's going off. He's pissed off, and my man is now out for blood. So then once my man finally calms down, looks into where where Noel and Nini were, he finds out they're like tapped their backs to him and are charging for Balgo. He's like, "What? They're not coming after me!" And so then Noel hits this attack, hits all the guys around Balgo, wait for them, and she picks them up. And she's like, and Balgo, "Oh no, Noel, you saved me." He's like, Well, your rescue was a result of my actions, so yeah." He's like, "I don't know what's going on, but know me." So then we head back over to the rooftop where Nini is holding Bruno by gunpoint. She asks him if he was the one responsible for bringing Macy into reverse London, and what's up with the dragon. And he explains that he brought her, and that he did bring her to reverse London, and that she actually found the dragon. She saw the dragon while back in front of London and just took care of it. And so then we also found that apparently she's one of the few humans born in front of London that have high amounts of mana, and that she is a watcher. Nini is shocked by this news. She's like, "A watcher?" And then, while she's while she's trying to process this is when Bruno takes the opportunity to kick her gun up into the air. But then once again, Noel comes in the clutch. Ladies and gentlemen. This episode was Noel in the clutch. Throughout the whole episode, she grabs her gun, and then she's on some Max Payne type shit. Fires up both the weapons, causing this huge explosion on the rooftop. Nini gets out of there, finds Macy, and she just drives her, and then she says she's gonna take her to a safe place. Then we see Ellie was right behind her, coming out, and she's like, "Ah!" And kind of looking at her directly, and kind of roars a bit. So then after the smoke clears, Bruno is just like, "Oh, you think you guys can just take those two away? You run from me?" and then he calls upon his drag. I think it was called Rickenbacker! I think that's how you say it. And then the drag gets this awesome badass transformation sequence as it appears right around him, and it looks so fucking cool. So anyway, after that, then we get back to Nini and Noel. They're kind of sunsetting, and they're driving away, going to safe place. And you have Macy crying, and be like, "Oh, Ellie, I left Ellie behind." And Noel's just screaming, and Nini's just screaming at her like, "I told you before, I couldn't bring the dragon." They're just going off, and then someone's here being like, "God, why are you so irritating?" So then, after that, we're now back on they're now on top of this construction equipment or whatever, and that's pretty much where I'll show Noel, I guess, is keeping watch. She's on top of the barricade or whatever, kind of looking out in the distance, while everyone else is kind of chilling, just sitting around and such. And Noel says that she's set up a cloak around his area so no one should see her, so she sees them. And Nini asks her what happened. And so Misi tells her that, you know, that I was never, that I never really wanted to be a part of the group to begin with. And she's like, yeah, like, you know, I was just tall, I looked good in makeup, and, you know, and I was just happened to be a good dancer. So they put me in cool clothes, nice makeup, and, you know, and such. But she never felt like truly like herself throughout this whole scenario, and she knew that she did, and, you know, and Noel and Nini knew this. And then she asked her if that was the reason why she quit. She's like, nah, if that was the reason, I would have left a while ago. But the reason she stayed was because, one, of Nini, and two, she would become a nobody at that time. And she kind of like, and she felt like she had like really nothing to offer to the world. Like she was just kind of there, you know. A supporting character, if you will. Not really so much the main character. And then 2 months ago was when she found Ellie. She saw the dragon out there just chilling outside the rain, sleeping. And nobody else could see it, so she brought him in there, started feeding it some water, she started drinking it, so she had been alive. She started feeding her, although apparently she seemed to like the veggies and fruits the most. And, you know, eventually she grew up and grew bigger and bigger to where she is now, and that she was a dragon, and she looked more and more like a dragon only she could see. And then we get this really nice shot where she's in a bathroom. She has like half her, I guess this is like her idol look, where she has like half of her hair on like on one side, kind of like just like shaved off, with like the rest of it. It looks pretty cool to be fair. And she's looking in the mirror and it's cracked. And she's saying, and she's just going on and on about how, you know, she just doesn't, she never felt like herself even when she was on stage, and that probably no one even really noticed her. And then eventually the reflection changed back to, I guess, what she normally looks like typically, where her hair is more like a normal hairstyle, you know. And that's when the lights shut off, and, you know, and everything. And so then later on, that's when Bruno showed up. And that's when she told her that he needed her in a dress. She was like, finally, this was my moment. This was finally my moment to show the world what I can do, what I have to offer, you know. And then that's right when she says that, and, you know, she's like, Nia, bam, Balga with this dragon rushes right through her barrier, and is just chilling on top of the crane thing, and he's like, yo, so y'all done saying your final goodbyes? And that is where the episode ends, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned before, when we got to like the last 5 or so minutes of the episode, and we kind of got Macy's backstory, why she did some things. I low-key thought the anime did a much better job. I think they actually extended it a little bit, because really all I remember from the manga was really the opening part where she talked about her dragon, where she found Ellie, and I don't really remember much anything else. Like I don't remember the thing with the bathroom. I believe they probably mentioned the stuff about her not wanting to be a part of the group anymore. But that's about it. I'm pretty sure all the stuff in the bathroom and stuff was all added in there for the anime. And like I said this before, since we beginning the opening, but I think low-key, now I would have to check the manga page again, the manga chapter again, to see how much of this, if there was anything additional added, how the manga did it, to know for sure. But low-key, from my memory and watching this episode, I think actually the anime did a much better job of telling Macy's backstory than the manga did, in my personal opinion. So yeah, man, and that's about it, all I got to say. So, overall, I'm going to give this episode, you know, fuck it, I will give this episode a 10 out of 10, ladies and gentlemen, just for Noel's savagery. Just like I did when I reviewed that chapter, 10. But yeah, man, but Noel was savage on something. Like, this was Noel's episode, man. Like, she showed up, she was savage, she came in the clutch to save Noel, to save Nini. I don't know why I keep getting their names confused all the time, but whatever. Anyway, guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you liked, if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.